About halfway through the year, I did my list of the top 15 releases of the year so far, and it was kinda my first video to do well. To make the end of the year list a bit different, however, I thought I would split it up into two lists, where in this video I will talk about my top 5 EPs of the year, and then on New Year's Eve you'll get my top 15 albums of the year. As of right now, I am counting down my top 31 albums of the year on both my Twitter and Blue Sky for the month of December. So, if you want to see those, go follow me on there, links are in the description. This year has been great for EPs, and if I was to rank them with the full albums, quite a few would still make the best 15 releases. But, with that being said, let's mention some that were great, but just missed out on the list. And now, onto the list. Celestial Sanctuary have been one of my favourite death metal bands of the past 5 years or so, ever since I saw them open for Frozen Soul last year. Their sophomore release from last year appeared on my end of the year list, so I was very happy to hear that the band had recorded an EP so soon after, and what an EP it is. The way I would describe this album is absolutely disgusting, and I mean that in the best way possible. A lot of the new wave of old school death metal can be a bit forgettable, at least for me, with the riffs not being as good as they should be, or the production being just a bit too clean. But luckily, this is not something that this band suffer from in the slightest. The riffs on this album are absolutely pummeling. And while Death Doom isn't exactly a genre I find myself enjoying that much of if I'm being completely honest, this band are the easy exception to me and just click with me in a way that a lot of other bands just don't. The production here is absolutely awesome, really fitting the sound this band go for, and the vocals from frontman Thomas Cronin are some of my favourite in modern death metal, easily one of the best of the year. The first two songs on here are easily some of the best death metal of the year, so why is this not higher? Well, the last song being 10 minutes long, while I commend them for trying, means it does stretch a bit longer than it needs to, and could be cut down quite a bit in my personal opinion. Still a good song, but I would have rather heard the band do two different great songs than a good song which drags on a bit towards the end. Even with that, however, this is another great release from a band I can see going places, as they keep improving year by year. Right from the intro of this EP, you get an idea of exactly what you're going to be in for. This Italian band's debut wears influences of bands like Merciful Fate right on its sleeve, especially with the vocals, but to call them a copy would be doing them a great disservice. The aforementioned vocals are awesome, and separate them out from a lot of bands doing the old school metal sound these days, but it's the production and songwriting that make them really stand out to me. The production fits the dark and creepy atmosphere it's obvious they're trying to do, which made me listen to it a lot during Halloween. The riffs themselves are very memorable and play around the vocals very well, and the band are able to construct songs to make them sound so epic and grand, while keeping the heaviness and making every second memorable, which is something that is really great to hear a band do on their first ever release. The only criticisms I have of this EP is that its influences are very apparent, which could be a turn off to some, but it really isn't that big of a complaint to me. This EP is one that I personally find really re-listenable, and find myself wanting to come back to it a lot over the past couple months. It's one, going down the line of the years, I can see myself coming back to a lot, which is really important for me when it comes to albums and EPs. If you are a fan of Merciful Fate, or any King Diamond solo stuff to that matter, make sure to check this out, as you are sure to be rewarded with one of the best debut releases of this year. Great songwriting, amazing vocals, and a production that wraps everything up to a 20-minute metal masterpiece that should be the beginning of a great career. This next EP comes in at just under 15 minutes, meaning it strikes you hard and then gets out quick. The first song is a good power metal song, but it wouldn't be enough to make it get into this list, so it's with the second song that this EP and band really come into its own for me. It's a classic power metal epic, just like the best from the classic era of Halloween, with great soloing, memorable melodies, and just great hooks all around. It really doesn't feel as long as it is, which is the sign of all the best power metal epics. This band is one I can see getting better with every release, as they will only come together more and more, and the quality of this debut EP already shows how good they can be. The lyrics are based on the Outbound Flight novel by Timothy Zahn, which is part of the Star Wars Expanded Universe. This is something I love. When bands do albums from obscure parts of fan bases that aren't talked about as often, as they aren't something that you heard before, or are part of a franchise that have not been beaten to death with things about it. The bass playing on this EP is immense. I love the drumming, but the guitars are where this really shines. They have so many memorable riffs and melodies that will just get stuck in your head. The solos and the entire midsection of the epic is also awesome, and helps keep the song to not get old when they have so many different parts. While the vocals took me a bit to get used to, they are good, but still may be the main issue for people who want to give this a listen. I can't wait to hear more from this band, as this is one of the best power metal releases of the year. This EP came out 2 weeks into the year, and even though I liked it on first listen, I could never have believed how high this would end up on my end of year list. But this was an EP I just kept going back to as the year went on. If you like your metal rough and raw, then this is something you need to check out. They sound like a mix of Motorhead and a Paul Di'Anno era Iron Maiden, just a great new British heavy metal sound. Their production is very rough, but I mean that in the best way possible, as it really helps give the feeling of a show in a dark, dirty club. But what makes this one of the best releases of the year for me is the songwriting, and especially the guitar playing. While their debut from 2021, Bang to Rights, is amazing, it's with this EP where I think you'll find the band's best songwriting of their entire career. All 3 songs are utterly infectious and catchy, and I found myself humming them to myself all throughout the year. You'll Never Take Us Alive is, for me, a top 5 song of the year. The riffing is so good, and the way they mix with the rhythm section just makes this a release that gives me so much hope for this band in the future. And the solos, oh man, the solos! Easily some of the best of the year. I got to see this band open for Cirith Ungol this year, and I think that was where this band really started to click with me properly, as live is easily where they're at their best, but they managed to capture it so well on tape, which is not something I can say about a lot of bands. At just over 10 minutes long, this EP is immensely replayable and just kept rising for me as the year went on, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do next. Phantom are my number 1 EP of the year, and to be completely honest, it isn't even close. While Heavy Sentence and Just a Car are amazing, no EP has been as enjoyable as Transylvanian Nightmare. Right from the start, they show they are not only going to do the same black and thrash they did so well on their album last year, but also throw in some more atmosphere. This can be heard as they do a fully acoustic track on this album, and it shows they are not afraid to take risks with their music, and it adds to the overall atmosphere of this EP. But the best part about this EP, of course, is the thrashing they do. The production on this is awesome, with the vocals especially sounding like they've been recorded straight in hell. The leads are ripping and awesome, the bass gives the songs a good structure to them, and the drums feel like they're going at 100 miles an hour. They are nice and loose too, not too locked in like a lot of modern metal can be, which gives the whole EP a very loose feel like a European thrash album from the 80s. The band's songwriting has improved greatly from the debut, as while that album was great, this EP sees them coming more into their own and having a lot more of uniqueness and their own personality coming through in their songs. Coming straight out of Mexico, I cannot wait to see what this band do next, and hope they will get a lot of attention with this EP as they completely deserve it. This is an EP I would recommend to absolutely anyone, but specifically those who love their 80s thrash and first wave black metal, as this really is the best that genre is being done today, maybe apart from Hellripper, and is my favourite EP of 2024. But what do you think? What are your favourite EPs of the year, and are there any I missed out on, or are there any I mentioned that you absolutely love? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed, follow my Instagram, Twitter and Blue Sky, and my Album of the Year page for my latest reviews. All the links are in the description below. But with that, stay safe, stay happy, and stay metal!